All right, so a lot of people have been asking me, what controller should I get to start DJing with the iPad? And it's a very good question, but it's kind of a hard question to answer because that really depends on your budget. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys 3 different price ranges and which controllers I recommend, starting with basically free up to about $125, then to like $200 to $500, and then over $1,000 for a controller. So first of all, starting with a low budget, technically you don't need a controller at all. The iPad is basically a rectangle controller with the touchscreen capabilities, which is a lot different than DJing with only a laptop. When you DJ with only a laptop, you have to use a mouse, you have to use the keyboard, and and depending if you have a touchscreen laptop or not. But basically, you're not going to be able to touch the screen. So DJing with the iPad, we could do anything that you could do with a controller, although it might be a little awkward. It might not feel as good as turning the knobs and pressing the buttons. But how I got started was I downloaded the DJ Pro AI app on my phone, and I would just be sitting there all day practicing DJing on my phone, and then eventually I upgraded to an iPad. And also, in all my videos, I tell you guys, with all the new techniques that you learn them on the iPad first before you learn them on the controller. This way, if something happens with your controller, or if you have to DJ on the fly and you don't have your controller, you could still do a great DJ performance with just the iPad. But let's say you have a budget of around $100. What controller should you get? I would say, my personal opinion would be the Numark DJ-to-to Touch. Now, Hercules has some of these strip type controllers that are very small and portable and very affordable, but I've found that the Numark ones work better and are more reliable. I had this one for several years, and although there's not a lot of buttons and knobs, you guys could map the controller and add the buttons that are missing by using some of the buttons that you don't use as something else, such as effects and filters. And then this gives you a sound card. So DJing with the iPad, it's kind of difficult because Apple decided to get rid of the headphone jack. So in order to DJ with headphones, in order to DJ while your controller is charging, you're going to need multiple adapters like this. And then it could get expensive, and it could affect the reliability and the sound quality. So if you are just starting out and you don't want to spend that much money, I would highly recommend the Numark DJ-to-to Touch, and there's a link below if you guys want to grab one. So now let's move on to if we have about like $300 to $500, and we're getting more serious about DJing, what controller should we get? And now that doesn't mean that when you get a controller like this that you don't use it anymore. This is great to have as a spare, and I made a video on how to plug in multiple controllers, so you could actually use this controller and another controller at the same time to have even more buttons and knobs. But with a $300 controller, I would recommend the Reloop Buddy is a great controller. This is basically what you're gonna get, but for between $300 to $500 with iPad DJ controllers. Now, this one has 8 pads, it has a 3-band EQ, it has these really cool effects paddles, and it has some jog wheels that are pretty small, but definitely bigger than the Numark DJ-to-to Touch. And don't get excited about the iPad stand because it won't hold your iPad if you have a case on it, and it's not very, I wouldn't recommend going and DJing and doing gigs without a case, and I say that in a lot of my videos. But the Reloop Buddy is good. This is the one that I got, but I kind of have a little bit of buyer's remorse from getting this controller because of these 2 controllers that I'm going to show you. I don't have these controllers because I already have the Reloop Buddy and can't bring myself to buy another kind of expensive controller. So let's just look at the website. So this would be my most recommended controller, and it's brand new. It's for $299. And this is the Pioneer DDJ Flex 4. It's compatible with multiple devices. You could use it with Bluetooth, or you could use it hardwired. They have a 4-band EQ, and this is a great solid controller, very professional. It'll get you used to DJing how you would in clubs with CDJs and much larger controllers with the way that it's set up. It's very traditional, and you could basically do anything that you need to do regarding DJing and this is a very well built controller. The one before this was the DDJ 400, which was a great controller, but this one is like the DDJ 400 on steroids. So at this price range, I would definitely, at this moment, would definitely recommend this one if you're looking for a controller around $300. I made a separate video on a full overview of it, but definitely check it out and definitely consider it if you're looking to get a mid-range controller for the iPad. And now, sticking to the mid-range controllers for the iPad, this is another great one. This is the Newmark Platinum FX, and this one has the paddle effects. It has 4-band EQ. The jog wheels are much bigger than this Reloop Buddy, and you actually could see information such as how much longer you have left in the song, and the BPM, and other type of information right in the jog wheels, which is similar to some CDJs that you're going to see in clubs. And it's really cool to see a screen on the jog wheels and giving us information. And this was one of the first newer controllers to come out with the paddle effects, and I believe that it's a great thing to get used to because I think it's the future of DJing, and it's really easy to use. To put an effect on, you just push down, and to leave the effect on, like if you're doing an echo out, boom, you just flick it up and then the effect stays on. So, but for me, if I had to list them in best to worst with this price range, I would go number one would definitely be the Pioneer Flex. The Pioneer DDJ Flex 4 would be my number one choice. Number two would be the Mix Track, and then number three, unfortunately, would be the one that I am stuck with, which is the Reloop Buddy. But it is still a great little controller designed for the iPad. Now, next we're going to get into a little bit pricey. So this one is the Reloop Mixon 8. And now this is a 4-band controller. And this thing is a beast. It's around $1,200, and it'll really get you used to DJing like a professional. You have the ability to control 4 decks. The one before this was the Mixon 4, which was also a really great controller, around $1,000. But the Reloop Mixon 8 is the real deal. The BPM sliders are super long, great for manual beat matching. You have these really colorful pads, RGB pads. We have 4 of those paddle effects, and we have microphone input. We could connect it. In this picture, it's showing it connected with records on the side, and this thing is really cool. It's huge. I hope that Reloop, as my channel gets larger, will send me one of these controllers because I'm not about to spend that much money. But if you're really serious about DJing and you're willing to spend over $1,000 and you're DJing with the iPad, I would definitely recommend the Reloop Mixon 8. So let me know in the comments which controllers you use. Let me know if you have any questions about specific controllers, or if you want to learn anything else about DJing with the iPad and DJ Pro AI. Thank you for watching.